from the Australian DeFi Association and not centralized, coming to you live from basically it's South by Southwest week. It's also the AFR Crypto Summit on today, being Monday, and a whole lot of other events going on, so check it out. First off the bat was the AFR Crypto Summit, and what we saw there over at the Sofitel was a melting pot, just as we see with our meetups at AusDeFi, and it was all about, we had the government regulators there, we had people from industry and banking and startups and all the corporates in the space, so really interesting to see. We had Brad Jones there from the RBA, Stephen Jones from Treasury, and really interesting because they've released the Treasury, the consultation paper on digital assets, and they're looking to regulate the platform providers rather than the tokens themselves. So that's open. We've shared that. We're looking to collate a whole heap of different responses there. So as I said, there was Stephen Jones, there was Brad Jones there. And we also had Joe Longo from ASIC present as well. So it was really great to see all of these people coming together and being in this open room where they had a lot of questions from the audience. It was streamed live on the AFR website. So you were able to see that at least up until 10 o'clock. And then after that, you had to basically pay for the virtual pass. But it was great to see it in person. We put on here, as you can see on LinkedIn, we posted up some photos. I've got a bit of a summary as well that has been shared, and that will go into next week's newsletter. But for this week's Chain Reaction was all about the lead up to this event. So great to see that it has now happened. Other things in the news that we saw, we had a SmartCon, which was by Chainlink. So there's been some videos that have been released from that, and you'll be able to see what the folks were talking about there. So if you're in a Chainlink or anything to do with blockchain infrastructure, this will be worthwhile having a look at this video. There was a bit of news from Immutable, who were also at the Crypto Summit today, but last week they talked about their partnership with AWS. So that was a pretty big win. It's great to see that big players from both Web 2 and Web 3 are coming together to make the world a better place, at least in the gaming space. So it'll be really interesting as well, because AWS Gaming, tomorrow I'm doing a talk as part of South by Southwest at New South Wales Government House, which is over at the Scale Up Hub in Haymarket, 477 Pitt Street. If you're watching this, it'll be today. So you'll be able to see Lisa Wade there, Joel Kirk, who is from AWS. He covers the gaming space over there. And then we're also going to have Simon Callahan from Blockchain Australia doing the moderating. So definitely worth checking that out. We put in the newsletter a whole heap of events. So we've got not only that tomorrow, there's a whole heap of other events going on Tuesday as well. So there's a Coinbase Synthetics block earner event on the other side of the road, because they're literally facing each other. There's something from Stables, BitGet, and Algo Hub, so worth heading down to Circular Quay in the evening for those. And then we've got the Oz DeFi Association events on Wednesday, so that's Wednesday the 18th at 5:30 over at the Scale Up Hub, basically where New South Wales House is for South by Southwest. And if you are around, there's a whole heap of great events for South by Southwest. You don't have to have just the platinum or those premium badges. They have day passes as well, and passes to certain places. So there's different pricing options, so make sure to check that out. But if you are looking for those free events, then we do have you covered. At least New South Wales Investment New South Wales does, as is the event that we're running, Oz DeFi Association. Another big thing in the news, if you had seen it, was, or if you hadn't seen it actually, was all of the coverage of the trial of Sam Bankman-Fried. So we list here something from Bankless, which gets into the details of it, and there's a whole lot more. So if you are after a bit of crypto drama, this is definitely the week for it. And now over to DSAI's portion for the AI Chronicles news. First up in the news, we have the AI Builders Club. If you remember that was run by Annie from Aura Ventures, and she put on that every weekend up until demo day over at Fishburners, where they had a whole heap of different groups present their ideas and what they had built in their spare time, mind you, for this AI hackathon. They've got another hackathon, all part of South by Southwest here. So it's about autonomous AI agents. So if you're interested, we include a link to that in the AI Chronicles this week. As we know, given that we're at that peak of the hype cycle here with AI, or maybe we're heading towards the peak, there is just update after update after update. And one of the things that you would have seen is that GPT has vision. It's also got that ability to have voice, and we've seen people play around with that. And then there's also DALL-E 3, which has its updates. But not to be outdone, Adobe has its updates as well with Adobe Firefly. So if you're using that tool, you'll see a whole heap of great and interesting updates from this blog article here. So check that out. As always, we have the AI regulation updates from Raymond Sun, and this week we are over to Ukraine, UK, and the Netherlands. So check out his LinkedIn article here. Speaking of the AFR, last week they put out an article on the use cases that CEOs, 6 CEOs locally, are using AI for. So how are they integrating into their business? How is it transforming things? Well worth the read if you have an AFR subscription. Video dubbing just got a whole massive upgrade with 11 Labs releasing more languages for their models. So you can see the video here from MatVid Pro. So if you're doing video dubbing with AI, there's a whole lot more that is available to you. So sometimes with things in AI, you just have to wait a little bit until some of these new updates come about, and it just unlocks a whole heap more new features. Who knew? Maybe we can actually have this podcast translated into multiple language, Spanish, German, etc. And as mentioned from that movie Her, which you might have seen with Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson, where he was talking to basically Scarlett Johansson in the depiction of being kind of like an Alexa, right? So now with ChatGPT powering it, you have these more vibrant conversations. So we're going to dig into that kind of stuff, so watch this space, but you can check out this video to see how at least this YouTuber is using the AI voice function out of ChatGPT. For some, it will really blow their mind. They're not going to go back to Amazon Alexa or Siri or anything like that again. That's it for the AI and Web3 news this week for the Emerging Tech Pulse. We'll see you again next week.